If there is a moment of heroism in Parashat Pinchas, it is when the daughters of Tzalofachad stand before Moshe. Their father dies, leaving no sons to inherit or perpetuate his name. While the daughters could have simply accepted the reality of patriarchal inheritance, they bravely choose another path. They approach Moshe explaining, quote, "Let not our father's name be lost to his clan just because he had no sons. Give us a holding among our father's kinsmen," from Numbers 27:4. Lama yigara Shem Avinu mitoch mishpachto, ki ein lo ben, tna lanu achuzah betoch ache Avinu. The reader cannot help but embrace this gesture with a sense of awe. What trepidation and gumption must have been involved in the decision to bring their case before their leader. It is even more significant that they do so in the aftermath of Korach's rebellion. Given Moshe's recent experience with malcontents, this could have easily turned against them. First, one must note the way in which the daughters approach Moshe and the chieftains. Far from coming with justified rage and aggression, as Korach and his cohort do, vayakumu lifnei Moshe, quote, they rose up before Moses, unquote. The Torah's language here is nuanced. Vatikravna and vata'amodna. They come close and they stand confidently before the leaders of Israel. They rationally explain their case, first by diffusing any residual tension related to the uprising of Korach. They state clearly that their father was not involved. And second, by stating their cause in a compelling and just way. Rashi, the great medieval commentator, sings the praises of these daughters in remarking that, quote, their eyes saw what Moshe's eyes did not see, unquote. The choice of posture and words is not inconsequential in seeking the desired outcome. They know well that courage and kavod, respect, are critical elements that will lead them a step closer toward perpetuating the memory of their father. Second, from Moshe's response, we know that he is at a loss for how to answer them. Thus, Moshe brings the case before God and hopes the matter will be resolved through counsel with the divine. Far from worrying about how others would perceive this gap in his knowledge, Moshe embraces the occasion. It is an Eit Ratzon, an auspicious moment for him that demonstrates admirable leadership. Indeed, the Midrash from Numbers Rabbah 21:12 lauds Moshe for serving as a model to the heads of the Sanhedrin of Israel that were destined to arise after him, that they should not be embarrassed to ask for assistance in cases too difficult for them. For even Moshe, who was master of Israel, had to say, I have not understood. Therefore, Moshe brought their case before the Lord, unquote. Finally, God provides us with a powerful example of leadership, using this as a teaching moment for Moshe, the daughters, and the entire community. God states clearly that the plea of the daughters is just and requires an addendum to the law of inheritance promulgated in Torah. Yet far from being limited only to Tzalofachad and his daughters, this expanded law will now apply to all of Israel. Taken collectively, we, the descendants of Moshe and the daughters of Tzalofachad, are infinitely enriched by the encounter that unfolds in this week's Parsha. There, a sense of injustice welled up in their souls, enabling them to confront both human and divine leadership. Similarly, Moshe could have simply restated the laws of inheritance, reinforcing the absolute law of Torah rather than acknowledging a gap in his own knowledge. To his credit, he recognizes his shortcomings and places the matter in God's hands. And while God could have limited judgment to these plaintiffs, God recognizes that equality before the law and true justice are on trial. As British biblical scholar Philip Budd writes, quote, "Theologically, the section presses the rights of women to a clear and recognized legal position within the sphere of property law. They are seen as a proper channel through which the threads of possession and inheritance may properly be traced," unquote. God's decision inspires hope for a better future, not only for the daughters, but for all women and men who will come after them and find themselves in the same position. With continued prayers for the return of our hostages, for Israel, and for the Jewish world, Shavua Tov from Schechter.